Hello, everyone. I'm Allison, and welcome to My Weekly Meltdowns first ever show about streaming. We are streaming about streaming. Now, tonight I have with me Alex Kidwell and Clifford Meyers. Welcome.
Hey, how's it
How's
going? Good.
This is going to be so much fun. Clifford and I used to cover, if you have been a fan of My Weekly Meltdown for a long time, you know that Cliff has covered Survivor with us. He and I tapped out early on the first season of X on the Beach last year, about a year ago.
Yeah, it's crazy now in the third season of that really awful show.
So bad. I would start coming up with excuses at about 4:00 that morning. And then Cliff would text me at noon. I'm not into it today. And I'm like, thank God I don't have to use one of these excuses.
But I will say in the same regard, that show is a good example of why I don't believe a show can be the worst show possible, but if you have someone to share it with, then it doesn't matter because you're going to have a good time either laughing at it or laughing with it, right?
The funny thing about that show is when you get right down to it, I mean, it's kind of like reality TV's version of Seinfeld. There's no concept, there's nothing happening there. There's really no strategy. There's no plan. There's no, nothing ever really comes from it positively. It's just, I don't know what their end game with it is, but sometimes it works, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I always said it never made sense that there's a strategic element to it. Yeah. That they vote each other out and stuff. That doesn't make any sense at all. Just keep them all there and just keep them all fucking and fighting. That's what people want to see, right?
They made it like a competitive show, but instead of a prize or some kind of incentive to win, your incentive is screwing over people who have done you wrong in the past out of airtime, I guess.
And I don't even know how that show ends. How many winners are there?
There's not. You take a lot
you don't win.
You're humiliated because you lied.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. You're not winning anything. You're not doing anything. If you're lucky, you might get on the challenge, but if you do, you'll be out within the first couple of weeks.
Almost everybody loses, and if you're lucky, you just don't lose, I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. If you got nothing going on anyways, you might as well go on vacation and not lose.
Yeah. Bump up your follower count, dude.
That's one way to do it. But we are doing a show tonight about streaming. Now, we're going to talk about being the dinosaur of the group. I can add in a little little history and backstories when it comes to streaming and how it started. But, we're going to talk about the show, what are we watching? And I think you guys game, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to get into the Twitchverse right now, mostly because a lot of stand-up comedians aren't really on that platform, and I think that's an interesting place for stand-up comics to be right now.
Definitely is. I would agree with that.
I know nothing about and my son does online gaming stuff, and he has he has a headset. And people watch. It's insane. So y'all will have later on. We'll get to that part, and you guys can explain that to me so I can not look stupid. I won't have a who farted face on the whole time. Try to explain to me what he's done, what he did last night.
Right. The answer is always you farted.
Yeah,
that's always the answer.
Always the answer. Always the answer. Well, the streams that first of all, I'm one of these people that still has a satellite. I still have DirecTV. Some people have DirecTV. Some people have, I don't know, these cable providers that they pay for. But I'm stuck in a contract until October, so I kind of have to have it. But I do stream a lot more. I do a lot of Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, CBS All Access, HBO Go, and I'm diving into YouTube because I love Cobra Kai. Okay.
Yeah, I want to check out that show. I haven't checked out any of the YouTube originals, but that show looks good.
Yeah, I've had people tell me I need to watch that.
Oh, dude, listen, here we go. I'm old as hell. I saw the original Karate Kid in 1984 when I was 7 years old at the movies.
Wow.
My brother.
Wait, what year was that?
1984.
The formative experience.
Yes.
2 years before the birth of myself. Wonderful.
Yes. how freaking old I am. And here's the thing, it's so funny because my brother's 5 years older than me, so they're like 12, and they all think that they can do karate, and they're all doing these little spin kicks in the lobby and stuff. It was so great.
That's an impressionable age.
Yeah, that was me with Ninja Turtles, like coming out of the theater throwing pizza. That's how it was, right?
Yeah, I was really big into the Turtles.
Yeah. Are we around the same age, Alex?
Yeah. What are you, 86?
I'm 86, yeah.
87. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm 77. Wow.
Well, I gotta go, but this has been nice.
My son is 96, and 10 years younger than you guys. Oh, that makes me feel even worse. So
I was just gonna quickly say I have a big theory that music started to die in 1996. Like because the 1995. Do you know how many hits were in 1995? Hadaway's "What Is Love."
Yep.
Right. There was the Total Eclipse of the Heart remix that was really big at the time. The Macarena came out.
I remember the original.
1, 2, 3, Train with Me. Frick. 1995 was a great year for music. 1996 sucked ass.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
No, son. I'm just saying.
I graduated from high school in 1995. Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls was played on the senior video. Oh, it was wonderful.
I think, I was in like grade 7 whenever you'd ask out a girl and then they would call you a scrub just because that was big at the time with TLC.
Yeah. Yep. I remember all that. My God. Okay. Geez. Now I feel really old. If you want, here's one thing we'll start with. If you want, and y'all jump in anytime. Netflix. I subscribed to Netflix 15 years ago in 2004. And the reason why I subscribed to it was because I thought it was, I was obsessed with getting things in the mail, and I wanted to watch the show Smallville. And it was like, in 2004, I think it had already been on like 3 seasons. So I had to rent the DVDs from Netflix. That was like the only place. Like I tried to go to Blockbuster and I couldn't find it, and some other places. So I got on Netflix, and they had a hub here in Memphis, Tennessee. So I could click on a DVD on Friday and have it Saturday afternoon. I mean, seriously, it was that quick. And man, I was a baller. I signed up for 2 DVDs at a time.
But this is as far back as 2004?
I signed up in 2004. I think it had been around a little bit longer than that. I'm not really sure.
Wow. I actually thought it was like younger than that. That's surprising to me.
15 years ago, and we would get movies for my son, and we would burn copies, because that's what you did back then. And I have this whole thing. Good Lord, please don't. I don't want anyone to bust me or anything, but I have like a whole thing full of movies.
Statute of limitations on that is probably up.
That's right. It's been 15 years.
Yeah.
That's right. But it's
you can safely talk about crimes as long as it's been enough time.
That's right. And I've learned that from all the murder documentaries that I now currently watch.
Yeah.
Because
people will be like, what day is it? Oh, yeah, I did it.
I did it. No problem.
Yeah, it was me.
I still have the weapon.
Sells it on eBay as a bundle package.
Never found it. Yeah.
But yeah, gosh, I have a whole list of things that the first streaming show that I watched on Netflix was in, I think, the spring of 2011. No, I'm sorry. It was a little bit earlier, but my son was into The Walking Dead. He read the comic books and all that, and they released season 1, which was only 6 episodes. And he had the DVD set. I got him for Christmas, but Netflix released season 1. And I thought, well, it's kind of easier for me to just get on Netflix and do it. But back then, I didn't have a smart TV. This is back just 9 years ago. I had to watch it on my phone. This is a Samsung 8 Note. Okay. I had an iPhone 3. Okay. It was about half this size.
Yeah. I remember the iPhone 3.
But I was actually at home sick from work, and I watched.
But still, you could watch Walking Dead on your phone.
Yep.
That was still cool. You know what I mean? Like,
this is the greatest thing ever.
In hindsight, it looks pretty lame, but at the time.
No, and around that time, I was actually working at a cell phone store, and people were coming in with the intention to watch shit on their phones. Because that was like a big, like, what is going on? I can sit on the toilet and watch TV right now. It's amazing. I think that was the big human evolution when we can realize we can do everything on the toilet. I think that was just incredible for us.
Your phone is meant more for checking Facebook while you take a shit. I mean, now you can really do other things with it.
Yeah, I like to talk shit when I'm taking a shit. It really makes things better for me. So
And yeah, I mean, the other thing with the streaming services, like I saw somebody write about this, but it's like, nobody, kids will never again know like the feeling of like having to like rush back to the TV because the commercial break is ending. Like we're the last generation that'll have to know that, because you could just like back 10 seconds on everything now.
But there's a lot of things this generation's not gonna know, because my kid's about 2.5 years old, right? And I keep thinking of all the things he's not gonna experience that I did. And I kind of feel bad about it. Like, he'll never experience going through Blockbuster and that feeling of discovering something on your own. You know, like now with algorithms and all this shit, like at the time, I literally found Fight Club without ever seeing a commercial, anyone telling me about it. I just discovered Fight Club.
I saw it at the movies when it came out, and I read the book.
Yeah, and like I thought it was like the most amazing thing ever. And then I'm telling my friends, you guys hear of Fight Club? And they're like, yeah, everyone has. And I was like, no, I didn't. It was like a discovery for me, right? And so like now, even like with the streaming services, I don't like that the algorithms vary so much.
Yeah.
Because there's like you can get like plugins for your Chrome and stuff. They'll give you every single category you can search for on Netflix and look for all the niche stuff. So I look for like cult comedies or stuff like that, you know? Or like it'll even have like screwball comedy or something like that. So I like those kind of. Oh,
sorry,
is that on your end? I'm not sure if that was my dog or your dog. Okay.
You know what's funny is I get like the struggle of really like going to Blockbuster or Cinemagic Video. I don't know if you guys ever had a Cinemagic Video, but
not in Canada.
I could remember going to this Blockbuster, and it was in this little shopping center, and we would go on like Saturday nights, and I would want a movie really bad, and it would be out. And I would ask, and I'm like 12, 13 years old. I would, because I had no fucking life. This is what I did. I would go to, can you tell me if any are coming back tonight? Yes, there's 2 coming back, or there's 1, or there's 3. Allison stood her little ass by the drop box where they returned the movie. And I freaking stood there and I waited, and I got my movie almost every time. And my parents would go walk around this outdoor mall while I was still in there, and I would have that movie and I would clutch the life out of it till my parents came back, you know?
That was an exciting time to be alive, because like
great.
I remember like there was a Blockbuster across from my college. And there was a day where the Blockbuster employee said I had good movie taste. And like I was over the moon. I got the Blockbuster employee seal of approval.
Oh my God.
It's like I lived my whole life for this kind of approval. And I finally got it. I really actually put the Blockbuster guys almost on a pedestal, because I just felt like they were the movie experts. It was like kind of those high fidelity vibes, right? Where they're the cool guys. Yeah,
they everything.
They did.
Yeah. I can just remember going in there and doing that, and it was so much fun. I remember when I was, I was getting movies through Netflix, I signed up for Blockbuster online, blockbuster.com, and it turned into the same thing as Netflix. You could rent movies through Blockbuster on DVDs. But now I'm like, wow, now I've gone from really wanting this new movie that, was standing there at Blockbuster in 1992. I'm on the treadmill on Netflix watching shit about the Fire Festival and documentaries like that.
See, and if those were on the shelves at Blockbuster, would you have picked them up? Like that, I think about that.
No, I would have no idea what I would know, because I would immediately V-line for the new releases. Every time I had a path that I went. Then they had a little computer and I could type in an actor's name and it would bring up all the movies that they had in stock and what category and where I could go to get it, and I would freaking go get it.
I met Benita in the chat is saying Blockbuster still has a store in Oregon. I didn't even know that was a thing. Why?
Yeah,
Why do they still have a store?
Is that the only one left?
I think it's in Alaska. I think there was John Oliver did a whole segment about it where he he anonymously bought a bunch of Russell Crowe's merchandise from Russell Crowe's auction, including like the jockstrap from Gladiator, and then he had it all shipped to the last Blockbuster on Earth. Like,
really?
So they would have like something like a selling point. Like,
that's actually pretty awesome.
It was a great story. Yeah, I'm sure you could probably find it on YouTube as like just a segment. But
it was
cool. It's really good. And then Russell Crowe found out about it and then like got in on the joke. He did something. I forget what it was. Oh yeah, he named like a koala mating facility in Australia after John Oliver for his generous donation.
That's
good.
Cool.
Yeah, it was like he hit him back. It was really funny.
Oh, is that John Oliver from
The Daily Show?
Is it the Daily Show? Or is that show on HBO called?
Well, he has an HBO show now. Yeah,
last week tonight. Yeah,
but he was a correspondent on the Daily Show, and now he has his HBO show. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's insane how big he's become because when I first started stand up, I actually was watching John Oliver's. He had a New York stand up show. And they would have like a token Canadian on. So it was always like really great to see like one of the Canadians I watched like growing up on TV make it to an American show. And because John Oliver was an outsider, he was open to outsiders, right? Yeah. And like, it's cool to see that he skyrocketed. And maybe that's something cool about these times now, right? Like we're reminiscing about the Blockbuster times, but now we're able to connect so much. There's things that our kids are going to be like, oh, remember when? Right? Like even like stuff like John Oliver doing the thing with Russell Crowe. That's going to be cultural impacts for the next generation.
Yeah.
My son, I think, was one of the last generations to have the DVD. Y'all, I can't talk. The video DVD combo TVs. Remember those little TVs that had a DVD? And I
had one in college.
Yeah, he had just the VHS TV in one, and he knew how to hit eject, take it out, and he knew how to put another movie in. Like he knew how to do all that. And then we got the little DVD and he learned how to do that. I have a niece and nephew that are 14 and 11, and they are just they are amazed by like audio tapes. Big Brother Canada 7, the other day, I don't know if y'all are keeping up with it, but they actually had in the episode, they had to find an audio tape to put in a tape player. I'm surprised any of those children knew what that was. I'm surprised Adam knew how to put the thing in the damn thing.
Dated reference. The theme is supposed to be like spy. Like there's no spy who's still alive using that technology today. If they were, they'd be caught immediately.
I mean, what time? The guy who created Bond just died the other day. And so did that technology. No one does that.
No, even in like the 70s, Bond was like, I'm not using audio tapes. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
but you know, like my kid's 2.5. He can take my phone. He'll watch like Baby Shark or some shit on YouTube. He knows how to skip the ads and bring the boxes up so he can switch through. The kid's 2.5. He learned how to do that before saying daddy.
My cousin's 3-year-old managed to lock him out of his phone and he had to get tech support.
That's amazing.
They are. He could not figure out how to get back in.
Oh, y'all
the kid wouldn't tell him the code.
I don't know what happened.
My
The
son
kid didn't know what happened. He just did stuff. Like
when we went out in public, my son had to behave. He had no other choice. He got crayons, he got a coloring, but he didn't have any of that stuff when he was really little. I cannot tell you how many trips to the bathroom we took where I had to give him a little spanking because he wouldn't behave. And I'm like, you have to act right. Now these kids are just like, and I'm like, that's not fair. That is not fair. I want these parents to be humiliated like I was. I want food thrown on them, a drink poured on them. I want the kids.
You want food thrown on them.
I want it done.
I saw so much at once. Like it just their brain can't process everything at once. So it just like everything else shuts down. I mean, it really.
See, I saw the flip side of this. Someone on my Facebook was complaining, saying, "Hey, if you need your kid
to look at a tablet to behave in a restaurant. You shouldn't be bringing your kid to a restaurant. And I was just like, what? So I should be trapped in my house with my loud ass shitty kid? No, I'm bringing him to a restaurant so I can eat good food.
And the alternative is he's being obnoxious in the restaurant. So
exactly, right?
Don't care that he's on a tablet. Like what that's like
this is incredible.
At a point where it's like, okay, you can ignore that. Like,
yeah, it turns my son into The Walking Dead. I'm okay with it.
Listen,
I'm okay with it.
I think sometimes like I'm a single person, so I get when sometimes people are like, oh, this baby on a 17-hour flight or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay. But like it goes too far with like the parent shaming. You know what I mean? It definitely, I see things where people are like, why do I have to eat food when there's this like toddler in the room? Like,
but I get it. When I was single,
idiot. Like,
dude, before I had a kid, I literally hated kids all the time.
Yeah,
and then I had a kid, and suddenly I like kids for some reason. It's weird.
Kids all the time.
I just compromised my entire
understand. You're like, I don't get a break from this ever. So like, if you deal with it for like 30 seconds, I'm not gonna cry for you.
Well, listen, you're lucky because these little kids now have freaking headphones. My son got his first little Game Boy when he was 6, and that opened up the door of him doing his little game, which was fine. But I mean, back then he didn't have headphones, and he would just be sitting there, and we'd be at a restaurant and like, look, honey, not everybody wants to hear fucking Sonic the Hedgehog getting coins, okay? And he would turn it down. And he would do this.
You didn't hear it.
You had to hear it. I have to make sure I hit that part right. But yeah, now I see these little kids in restaurants with these big boss headphones on, $300 headphones with these huge iPads bigger than mine on little stand, just sitting there, just hanging out, drinking, eating. And I'm like, man, you guys have the life. Do you know what I got to play with when I was 5 in 1982? My mom wouldn't even let me bring a Barbie with me anywhere we went. If the place didn't have crayons or anything, I would draw napkins with a pen for my mom's purse. And holy shit, if she didn't have a pen, I would lose my mind.
We have a new problem now, though. So, like, you know, when your kid's playing Sonic the Hedgehog, you knew your kid was playing Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, yeah.
But when my kid's playing Baby Shark on the phone, he starts doing the YouTube rabbit hole where he's clicking all the different things.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's on some sort of Japanese Baby Shark fetish thing. And I'm like, oh gosh, no, not again.
Yes.
And now it's coming up on my homepage. It's weird. You know, it's weird.
Yep. It's scary how quickly YouTube can transition from something innocent to something dark based solely on just video to video like that.
And watching the stuff that they're streaming for children right now, some of it is so weird.
It's really weird. Yeah.
Like, they'll have like a young girl singing like, you know, E-I-E-I-O or something like that. And then all these adults just in animal costumes doing this. Like following the girl. If
they find a video they like, they're not going to watch it once or twice. They're going to watch it for days on end, on loop.
Over and over again. It's crazy because I'm watching
like...
Oh, and companies like Ping Pong have learned how to brainwash children. Like that's the Baby Shark company. They had one viral hit and turned it into an entire empire. That's insane. Like
the other thing is like the timeline on like kids are like there's easy distractions available, but the downside is like when you don't have them, they get bored so much faster than we used to. Like it used to take a lot for me to actually go to my parents and be like, I'm bored. But like, man, like kids now, it's like, man, 5 minutes of nothing, and they're just like,
oh yeah,
what is about to happen?
It's like YouTube's off. I'm gonna throw the PS4. Yeah, like that's what I'm gonna do now because I don't know what to do with my existence, Dad.
Right? I mean,
can you imagine
a new set of problems?
Yeah,
that is just insane. I can remember my son playing and being in the middle of something and then running out of his room. What's going on with the internet?
Yeah,
like what? Seriously, Mom.
Well, I still do that.
Pick that something. And I'm like, do you not see this Ethernet cable going from downstairs to upstairs into my laptop to make sure I don't freeze? Like, I mean, it's so funny. Just the way things are just so different now. Like a few years ago, I got my first brand new car, a 2016 Ford Fiesta, and it's a 4-door. Well, I don't have automatic windows. Dude, I haven't had automatic windows in my car in almost 20 years, okay? And my niece and nephew were in the back seat of the car, and my niece just kind of looked over and she's like, "What is this thing?" And I go, "You roll the window down." "With what?" And I go, "The little handle thing you do this with." And she just started, she's like 10, 10. And
Yeah.
it's, you know, and
She's
I'm
like
like,
a kid who just like
Yeah.
realized there was like a drawbridge at the castle. Like that's how she looks at that. Like,
"This is crazy."
Well,
look at this archaic technology.
Yeah.
last summer, I got high and went into a McDonald's drive-thru, and you know how they make those parking spaces where you have to wait for your fast food,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you might as well go in.
right? And so I was in there, and I was high, and like because it's legal in Canada now, so like everyone's just high now all the time. And then
So
the
is Tyler right now.
yeah, hey Tyler, and the car next to me was like beside me, and I've wanted to talk to them, so I did this, like the motion to wheel your window down, and they didn't know what I was doing, and the girl started kind of like cleaning her window, like so she thought I was trying to tell her to rub something off or something. It was really weird, and then I actually I took the car and I went like 2 parking spaces over, like I couldn't handle it.
That's right. Yeah, no, I would still think of that as a universal symbol, but I guess now you have to be like,
yeah, yeah, that's not fun. This isn't fun.
How do you think I feel when someone pulls up next to me on the passenger side and they know me and they're like, "Hey, who were you?" And I'm like, I just look like an asshole right now because I can't. You know, I can't roll my window down.
Tonight's podcast is less about streaming and more how we're old as fuck. Like that's more what it is.
Well, I mean, something I do want to say about like along those lines about like, yeah, like it's crazy how like, you know, how quickly Blockbuster and a lot of others kind of went out, but like Blockbuster, Barnes and Noble, there was a tons of business giants when we were like in the 90s. Like, I mean, really, it's a while ago now, but I mean, if it obviously it doesn't feel that long ago. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long ago. I mean, you think about how long things were the same for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, like almost nothing changed. And then in the last like 20 or 30 years, like, and like in increasing fashion, the half-life just gets shorter and shorter of technology. Like the rate at which it comes out just gets shorter between releases.
Crazy.
So like, I mean, because new technology allows for the building of new technology, which like makes it streamlines whatever comes after it, because now you have the tools to do new things with what just came out. So it really does create like this crazy kind of situation. And like, I mean, with Blockbuster, with a lot of those businesses, I mean, you look at it and it's like, it kind of sucks that we can't go to those places or like have that nostalgia feeling, but you also see why it happened. Like you were saying, like Blockbuster switched to an online streaming model, but it was like in response to Netflix coming out and being successful.
Right.
And like, as soon as they did that, Netflix is like, guess what? Or like they were doing like, you know, order away for DVDs. And as soon as they switched to that, Netflix was like, well, now you can just watch it on your internet. And Blockbuster was just always a step behind, you know what I mean? And that's what really like, it put them out of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting because with us, there's this emotional resonance with the nostalgia from the 90s. Yeah. But the same thing's happening with streaming now, even though everything is advanced. Like I have a nephew who was talking about secretly watching Big Mouth when his mom wasn't in the room. Right, but she could see what he was watching on the continue watching thing. So she knew that he was watching this cartoon show about sex, and the kid's like 13.
Yeah.
Right. And but that's the same sort of like for me, it was like, you know, the scramble channels and I have to like keep the volume down at night, but the same curiosity, the same resonance. It's just happening in a different way. But it's not like we're losing anything. I think we're gaining a lot more than we're losing.
Probably easier to track all that now. You like read receipts on everything and history, viewing history and search history and all that stuff.
Oh, I'm going to put a tracking device on my kid and know what he's doing at all times. Like, it's going to be great. He'll never get away with anything. I'll Big Brother the shit out of him. It'll be good.
Pretty soon you'll just be able to put like a chip in his arm when he's born and then just just pull him up on an app.
Yeah, he'll have his own app, which is just me watching through his eyes.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny though how movies from like the 80s and one of the biggest ones, the Terminator, how back then in 84 when that movie came out, you know, 35 years ago, they were already talking about the computers are going to take over. they're going to know everything. And if you look at it now, there is an algorithm. I was on my phone last night. I was on Amazon looking up chin acne treatments because I've had an outbreak, okay? And I was looking up these foaming facial cleansers, and the next thing I know, I'm on Facebook, and oh shit, there's that thing I was looking at. It was one of my suggestions. And I'm like, that is insane. Like, they know what you're doing. And, you know, it's like, when is Skynet gonna take over? And it's like, I can remember I didn't have a smart TV. My son and I figured out one night how to take my laptop and hook it up with these little cables to the regular TV and watch Netflix that way on the big screen. But it was a regular TV, but it was big to us. I mean, you know, that's how we did it until I didn't get my parents gave me my first, as a gift, smart TV. Oh my gosh, 3 years ago, if at all. So I haven't had one that long. I don't even think, how long have they even been around?
Smart TVs?
Yeah.
That a few years.
Yeah, like 5 years at least.
Facebook is definitely the creepiest with the targeted advertising. It's pretty overwhelming sometimes where I'm just like, yo, like, I mean.
Yeah, like I actually find Twitter to be a little bit more interesting with her algorithms because it's about attracting people to people, right? Less about advertising. But like even like today, like I liked like 2 of Alex's tweets. And then throughout the day, everything Alex tweeted came into like my main home feed. Like just because I like 2 tweets, and then Twitter's like, "Oh, you must like this person.
You love the shit out of this. Here you go,
all the time. You just get Kidwell nonstop now." I'm like, "Damn it! You broke my phone." But like that's an interesting way to look at algorithms where it's like, oh, this person's interested in this person, let this person see more of this person. But on Facebook, it's way less of that because I don't even know what the people that actually like me, if they're even seeing what I'm writing on there.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's like on Facebook, if you like pictures or you like something, it picks it up as that's someone that, you know, will be in your news feed a lot. Like there are people I'm friends with and I'm like, man, I haven't seen so-and-so in forever because I haven't seen anything because I've been liking other stuff. So they kind of get, you know, buried in the shuffle.
Everything I post on Facebook either gets like between 3 and 5 likes or like 100 likes.
Yeah.
It's like now it shows that like it just shows up for everybody or nobody.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I actually don't like, if I write anything on Facebook, it's going to be something long.
Yeah.
Like, because if I write something long, it's more likely to be read for some weird reason. Like any kind of short stuff. If I say, hey, I have a show, no one's going to see it. But if I tell this big, long story, how a homeless guy found my journal in the garbage, and then he called me asking me for a ransom for my journal, true story, right? Like, and I tell this, and then at the end of it, be like, oh, by the way, I'm at Comedy Bar on Friday night. I'll more likely get people to see it and come to the show because they read the story and be like, oh yeah, we do find him funny. But not when he's just asking us to show up to the things he likes. Right? Fuck me.
That's right. I mean, it's just so scary. Like I was at a doctor's appointment and my doctor was talking to me about an anti-anxiety medication. And so I looked it up on my phone. The next thing I know, I'm on Facebook and look, there it is. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so the world's going to the top.
Yeah. And Facebook's the reason you're on that medication. So it's a vicious loop.
It's a vicious cycle. Like I would have, you know, where would we be without Facebook? Like where, see, that's the thing. Like people don't really, you know, we lived a life because y'all were young enough to live a life without social media, like without streaming, without all that stuff. Like people binge watch like crazy. They Netflix and chill. They do all of this stuff. And it's like, I can remember getting excited when the new TV season started because, oh, my favorite show's coming on. I got to set my VCR or I can't wait to watch it, you know, and you just
things don't feel like events anymore. They used to feel like big events. I think that's one of the reasons why I still love Survivor, even though like this current season is dog shit, right? Because like it still feels like an event to me. I still don't know what's happening next week. I'm still excited for the big finale. Like a Survivor finale is still an event. And if it was streamed, like if they put the entire season onto Netflix, I don't think it would be as fun.
No.
I think the week to week is really fun with Survivor, you know?
Yeah.
No, they just put it on CBS All Access. You know, here's another gem. I signed up for CBS for the live feeds on CBS in 2005, 14 years ago. That was I think it was the year Janelle and Howie and Kaser and all of them were on. Was it? I
Oh,
don't know.
damn.
It
So
wasn't All
yeah,
Stars. I think it was
PB6.
the first season that they were
6
on.
or 7, yeah.
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 And I had to watch it on my laptop, and this used to drive my ex-husband crazy. I would put it on his side of the bed, and I would just lay there, and I would just watch the live feeds, and I would fall asleep because I could watch it at work, and I had to watch it.
Man, I wish I could watch the live feeds during season 6. That would have been amazing.
There were fights. Well, it's funny because if you want to go back even further, I used to watch like the free trial and then I would stop. And then I was like, fuck it. At this point, it's 2005. I'm going to watch the live feeds. Why not? I'm addicted to this show. And the first year, I mean, I can just remember, I didn't watch the live feeds that much the first season, but the second Big Brother 2, you only had one camera. And you only watch the room that CBS picked. That is the room you watch.
Yeah.
And then it evolved to 2 cameras. It was 2 cameras for a long time, but I think by the time it got to 2005, I think we had 3 cameras.
Wow.
But I remember
fancy.
There was a big drunk fight because that's when they used to let him have liquor, really let him have liquor.
Yeah.
And Janelle was shit-faced drunk, calling this other guy in the house a whore. He got in her face. They cut the feeds. I was like, what happened? No. And Howie was fighting with someone in the backyard. It was exciting. It was fun because it was still kind of pure, as where now I kind of feel like they put people on the show who are just there because they want Instagram followers or they want Twitter followers.
And then they protect the hell out of them from themselves. Like once they're out there, like they really go out of their way. It seems like if someone's like about to say something controversial, they're like, hey, just play it safe. Just take the feeds off for like
cut the feeds.
Yeah.
And it's not like it seemed more real back then.
So no one gets to know what the real person that they've been watching all summer is like.
Yeah.
Which was the whole point initially. So.
Well, it's interesting. That's actually been a big part of my motivation for applying to Big Brother, because the Big Brother I fell in love with was originally season 10. Yeah. Right. And so I'm in Canada, and if you watch Big Brother Canada from season 3 forward, it's been so fucky with the twists and the production, how they do things. There's been some good stuff, but it's not what it used to be. So it's like a different show now. Yeah. And that purity you're talking about, I feel like it's kind of lost that a little bit, and people are too conscientious of how social media is reacting to them on every word they say. So I feel like the outside world still controls everything happening inside the house.
I think if I got on Big Brother, you're aware of the cameras, that they're there, that's a given. But I mean, you can say I would do this, but then you get there and it's totally different. But I'm 42 years old. I don't have time for it. I'm so kind of getting to where I'm kind of set my ways. I know how to talk to people. I know how to get through situations, that I'm not going to sit there and worry about what I freaking look like at 6:30 in the morning. Honey, this is real life. This is real life. And these women are, hold on, I got to get ready to go to the diary room. I got to contour the shit out of my face and my chin and put my hair in and get ready to go to the diary. I'd be like,
so I can read my lines.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is what you get, shine and zits on the chin and all. I don't care, but I just don't think they look for real people. I feel like it's dying. I feel like it's really dying. And even with Survivor, to me, Survivor, it just seems like the people are a little bit more real. They're out there, they're raw, they're in that environment. You can't really fake,
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thought. Like, so in our generation, we were watching social experiments on TV. We're watching them on an island. We're watching them in a house. And I will say, like, my son's generation is now the generation growing up in a social experiment.
Yes.
Right? Like with everything we're talking about, the social media, with the algorithms, everything is connected to, like, my kid is currently a part of the biggest social experiment humanity's ever experienced. Right? Where everything's going to be curated for him. Like, it's going to be, I actually think original thought's going to be harder. Like that might be an unpopular opinion, but I do feel like I'm seeing kids all liking the exact same things and all playing with the exact same things. And yeah, it was like that in our time too, but there was more of a sense of discovery, I feel. But maybe because things are so accessible, there's also that, like, we're talking about Twitch, like with the gaming stuff, people find their, gamers that they really like. It's like they discover them and then they join their clan. They're a part of them, and they just they fanboy hard.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's
no, yeah. I mean, and fan bases around
Yeah.
shows and a lot of stuff. I mean, and streamers and like individual comedians. I mean, whatever. Like fan bases do become very loyal, and I mean, people start like a Facebook group, and then people like get together and meet sometime. You know what I mean? I mean, things really evolve as a result of social media in a way that they didn't before.
You know what I used to do? I'm so dated. Well, I'll tell you about my first reality experience, but before that, my mom used to I used to have her drop me off at the library on Saturday afternoons. Yeah, I was like 14, 15 years old, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to the library, and I wanted to look at old magazines and look up history stuff, and they had these little slides and stuff that you could go through, and for like 10 cents you could print out the story and read it. It was like the internet before the internet, and that's what I did. And my mom gave me some money, and one of my little friends would show up, and there was a little diner around the corner, and we would go to this little diner and split a cheeseburger and fries and a cherry Coke. Like this, Jesus, sounds like I'm like 50s.
Yeah, it sounds like you're from the 50s. Like Pleasantville era, yeah.
You could go and get a sarsaparilla down at the local penny tavern.
That's right, penny loafers. And we would, in our satellite shoes, and we would sit there across from each other, and we would talk about like all the stuff we looked up, and look at what I printed out, and look at all this. It's almost if you think about it, it's almost the equivalent of getting on the internet and sharing information, except now, like, I consider you guys my friends, but we've never met in person.
Right.
Yeah.
If we know each other, and we've met through social media and the internet and Google Hangout and YouTube and all that. Like, I can honestly say all of my friends, with an exception of a couple, don't live where I do. Like, I don't have. Shut up. Tyler, you are my best friend. Look at him in there saying, you're my best friend.
We're not friends.
You're my little brother, and I love you, you little shit. Get out of here. This is my show. This is my show tonight. Shoot. See, he can't stand it when Allison steals his thunder. He can't stand it. He just wants his name said during the show. There, I said it. Go away. I see. Now I lost my train of thought. Okay. Not that we're talking about streaming, but my first reality show was The Real World on MTV in 1992. That was my first show I'd ever seen with reality, and I fell in love with it. I watched every freaking season of The Real World up until the last season it aired, and you want to talk about an evolution of change. Even the challenge and Road Rules, all those shows were 30 minutes long. They weren't an hour. I
got a question about those shows. Do they stream in America?
What, like the Real World?
Real World Challenge? Like, do they stream on anything like Netflix or Hulu, Amazon Prime, anything like that?
No, you have to go ahead.
They might be on Hulu now.
Yeah,
but it's like sporadic. It's not like every season. If it is,
well, I was telling Allison before the podcast, because there's the streaming applications that you guys are familiar with, but I can't get Hulu in Canada.
No, it's not on Hulu.
And we actually have one called Crave that's owned by Bell Media, like Bell Telephone, and so.
No, but that must be a Canada thing.
You don't know Bell Telephone?
You used to have Bell South, but that turned into AT&T.
Alexander Graham Bell. He created the telephone.
I know, but we had Bell South, and it turned into AT&T.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, really?
I think it's been bought out.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Insane.
I used to live close to Brantford, where Alexander Graham Bell was born. I used to drive by his house. I
definitely do remember Bell Telephone, but I don't think it's a thing in America anymore.
Okay, so in Canada, it's still like a major corporation, probably one of the biggest. and they have one called Crave that plays all the HBO stuff. They'll play like the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, and then you have to buy the extra package to get the current stuff.
Okay.
You know, they play that game, and like there's a lot of original Canadian content that gets played on these that are starting to get like more noticed like internationally because of it. So like the 2 shows that stick out is one's called Letterkenny. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of, but it's starting to be on the rise, and other American streaming apps are picking up. And then Schitt's Creek, that was one that was Canadian only with Eugene Levy, and now it's getting
Netflix.
it's on Netflix now, right? So it's kind of blown up. And that was just like, that's actually a really good example of like Canadian comedy that no one's ever seen before. And now with streaming, like internationally, like we can actually get noticed here, which is really cool.
Well, now tons of stuff is shooting in Vancouver in a way that it didn't used to be, because like, and you know, decreasingly so, obviously, like it is with all towns that end up like that, you know, Atlanta or obviously Los Angeles, but you know, like it's definitely a cheaper place for them to go and shoot. So that's why it's been really appealing for a lot of stuff. And like one thing I've definitely noticed is like, especially in like if you watch any of like those superhero CW shows like The Flash or Arrow or any of those, like Peter Brown has appeared like in the background in like 2 or 3 of those from Big Brother Canada 1.
Oh, really?
He's just like, I mean, he's like over there, and I think his like acting is at least part of what he's doing now. So like being a background actor in like for like some villain, he's like some researcher, you know, behind some villain, you know, like multiple times. I think like if you really look for him, you can find him.
That's funny. I didn't realize like Vancouver was being used that much.
Yeah, those CW shows at least are all there.
They are.
And I think increasingly some movies as well, from what I know.
The X-Men prequels, I think some of them were shot there, like Days of Future Past and the latest one, that's the Dark Phoenix. I think they didn't shoot the whole thing there, but they do use Vancouver a lot. For years.
This is actually the funny thing about algorithms. Now you're bringing up the DC stuff. Like I do not like The Flash, but I continue to watch The Flash.
Yeah.
What's that? What is that thing? I don't like the
know.
show. I think it's cheesy and horrible. Yeah. But I just watch it all the time.
I'm behind, but inevitably, like, you know, they're gonna drop the season that's on right now on Netflix, and like I'm gonna stream it at some point. Like I'm gonna catch up. Like that's how I've gotten to that point with it, where I'm not staying with it week to week, but when it's just sitting there in my queue and I'm like, oh, there's a whole new season of these like CW shows, like, and one day I have nothing to do, like I'm gonna end up watching it.
But like every single episode, I'd be like, what? There's like 4 timelines now, and that guy's from a different Earth. What's happening? All right, next episode. I hate it the whole time, and then just keep watching it. So I don't know if I have like taste anymore.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, that's the other thing. It's just so when we're just like overwhelmed with choice. I mean, like, you know, you mentioned all the services you have, Allison, and like,
my God,
I have all of those, and then like you think like I know DC has recently like they have their own now where there's like multiple shows that are like I have this whole list of shows. Like look at this thing.
Oh, honey, did you see mine? Did you see my pages?
Was I supposed to write a list?
No. I keep this regularly. Like this is my all the time list. Like these are shows that I'm because I have so many shows that I can't keep track.
What's your number 1 on there?
It's not even ranked. Like these are shows I'm currently watching in case I forget what I'm watching because there's so many I'm currently watching.
Do you put like, what season you left off on?
No.
Yeah, dude,
I just hope my queue will save me.
You need grid paper.
I don't have space. But like these are shows I'm currently watching, either like that like, you know, are still airing or that I'm like in the middle of streaming. And then these are shows that are on hiatus where like I'm caught up and they're on a break. And then all these shows are shows like people have told me I need to start. And I haven't even begun.
Very pretty handwriting for a guy.
No, I don't.
Very nice. See, do you ever like just abandon a good show halfway through? I'm notorious for that.
It's hard for once I get started on something. I really like. There have been some shows. I can't think of them off the top.
I never finished Peaky Blinders. Loved it. I never finished it. I will finish The Flash though. No idea why. I don't know what's going on.
Something about The Flash.
I have like a list like of all of these shows that I've watched on Netflix, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but the most like there's a show on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us. I don't know if you guys have seen that documentary. Okay.
There's so many docs.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's overkill. Like I went
They're
through
killing it in the duck game.
I mean, The Staircase, Making a Murderer 1 and 2, Evil Genius, Fire Festival, The Dirt. Y'all, I just watched The Dirt the other day about Motley Crue.
Oh yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah.
on my queue.
Yeah.
It's in my queue.
Yeah, it's in there.
Oh
mile
my
long
God.
queue.
I loved it. I thought it was freaking great. I need to watch it again just for fun. But like I have all these, and I got to HBO. Now, I have had HBO since I was about 5, maybe, because that's when we got cable for the first time when I was 5. Actually, fun fact, it came out in 1981. So it's been around, or 80 or 81. Cinemax and HBO came out within a year of each other. But anyway, oh God, I'm telling you, I know I am full of useless information when it comes to this stuff. So I was going through, like, I get HBO free through my my cell phone, through AT&T. Like, I have an unlimited plan and all this stuff, and I get HBO free. So in HBO Go, I use my login to get on there. Like, I hardly ever watch it through my DirecTV satellite. Like, I watch it through the app all the time. Dude, I have the longest list, and I'm sitting here, and it's longer than any list. Like, I started watching the like shows, series like this on HBO. Like, I watched Tales from the Crypt. I watched Def Comedy
Oh,
Jam.
wow.
I watched The Sopranos. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at True Blood, 6 Feet Under, Project Greenlight, Flight of the Conchords. If anybody, oh my God.
Did you ever watch
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
the comedy specials, the HBO One Night Stands?
I watched that. I watched the Larry
Yeah.
Sanders Show with Gary Shandling.
Yeah, one of like the most
best.
underrated best comedies of all time.
Have you ever
Like,
seen
I will
that,
go
Alex?
that far to say that. I think it's one
I
of the best
don't
shows.
think I have, but I know of it. I don't think
That
I've never watched
was
it.
the first
So good.
mock reality
Yeah,
show.
right.
It was Gary Shandling played Larry Sanders, a talk show host.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it followed him around like The Office. It was like The Office.
Yeah, it was like The Office, but with like Letterman, you know? So
Yeah,
it was like, it was
exactly.
such a good show.
And nudity. So, and it came on like in the summer, and I would get so excited. I'm like, oh my God, yes, Tales from the Crypt's gonna be on. This, all of it. It was, God, I mean, I just binged watched True Detective earlier this year. I had never seen season 1.
I just finally watched season 1 of that a couple months ago.
Season 1 was that was a good solid. Like, they should have stopped there.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to 2 yet.
Don't do it, dude. Don't do it, man.
I'll put it to you like this. The first one that I watched, because I have like a big fangirl crush on Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn, was season 2 of True Detective. That's the worst one to start with. And then
you should start with that one, because then it gets
It'll make
so
you
good when you go to season 1.
Season 1 was so good. I actually
It was really
liked
good.
season 3. I thought it was really, really good. I don't know, because
I haven't watched season 3 at all.
It's based off of some real life crime stories that happened in West Memphis, Arkansas. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the West Memphis 3. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No.
There's back in
Were they an alliance?
They were not an alliance. They were 3 young men that were accused of killing 3 little boys back in 1993. Oh, they were my age. They were a little bit older. And they were persecuted in the media because they were different. One was a goth guy. One guy had mental issues. And the other guy was kind of in the middle. And they were so desperate to pin this murder on someone.
Wait, what's in the middle of mental issues and goth?
A crazy goth person.
Okay.
I don't know. Look, I'm crazy. I can say that. I have a certificate to prove it. But I mean, these guys actually ended up getting out of prison 20 something years later. That is actually a documentary that I think you can watch on Netflix. Google, if you ever get a chance, the West Memphis 3 documentaries. They will change the way you really look at things. The first one came out when I was pregnant with my son, and I watched it, and it was just emotional. It really shows how people are truly persecuted because they are not normal. Nobody's normal. Come on, you're not normal. None of us are normal. Give me a freaking break.
What do you mean I'm not normal? I try so hard.
But stop. It's boring. It's boring. But yeah, look that up sometime. But anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. HBO. But like True Detective.
The thing about HBO was like HBO was doing the darker, grittier content when it was more taboo. And now it's funny how everything is suddenly like really dark. Every show is like dark as shit. Yeah. I actually like I have one thing with content. I don't like watching shows with rape in it. I'm just not into it.
Yeah,
and
I'm
like,
not either. Yeah.
I actually won't watch Game of Thrones because of that reason. A lot of people are like, oh, like the episode I stopped watching, people are like, oh, it gets so good. I'm like, what happens in the next episode? They're like, oh, they burn a child alive. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to.
I heard of
I don't want to do it. No, like I'm just like, it's getting too dark for me. And people make fun of me because I watch like My Little Pony or some shit. But I'm like, it's just pure joy just coming out. I'm like, I just need that sometimes, or Adventure Time or something, you know? Like, I find myself as I'm getting older, I'm getting more sensitive to those things.
What's crazy to me is like last night on Game of Thrones, a character who I guess, I mean, really, because in season 1 they were a kid and now they're like clearly 18 or 19 in real life and on the show. Like they had like consensual sex and like lost their virginity on the show last night. And then that bothered people where it's like, that's a kid. Like it's weird. And I'm like, but it's like the first consensual act of sex we've seen in like 4 seasons. So like,
the show never has it.
And they're like, oh yeah, good point. I'm like, yeah, right. So it shouldn't bother you if these other things don't bother you. Like,
was it the same kid that got pushed out of a window for watching a brother and sister fuck?
No. It was not that kid.
like where are people drawing their lines here? Like
I know, right? Yeah, the priority.
There's a whole army of men who don't have penises,
and that's
like literally cut their wangs and balls off.
Those
Seriously?
are called Jordan Peterson fans.
They were or I don't know what they call it. They like I've tried to like I know a lot of people that watch Game of Thrones who are crazy about it. And I mean, I've watched it here and there. I think it's a great show and people love it. It's just, I'm not into that kind of stuff. So I just kind of, but I love the show that comes on after it, Barry. Do y'all watch
No,
Barry?
I haven't seen that yet, but
I've
it's
heard good things
Bill
about
Hader, right?
God.
Yeah. I want to watch that. Like, I think he's
Winkler,
hilarious.
If y'all know who Henry Winkler is.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bill Hader and Henry Winkler, heaven. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, Vice Principals. Have y'all ever seen Vice Principals?
Some of it.
I like Vice Principals because there's an alliance aspect to it.
Yeah.
We have two people that hate each other that are trying to take someone else down. Like that's something like my love will always go back to Survivor, right? So if there's a Survivor elements in a show, I usually like I'll get sold on it. Like there's an anime called Fate something, and it's very Survivory, but with like gods and shit. And it's like I gotta find the name of it. I don't know anything. I forget the name of shit, but it's really good.
Walton Goggins might be my favorite actor right now, so I like anything he's in.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Like,
yeah, he's great.
He killed it on Justified too.
Justified is a fantastic show, and yeah, like I first got onto him when I was watching Sons of Anarchy, and he's playing like a transgender woman. Like that was pretty fantastic. That's
when you first got onto him. Oh, I got onto him on The Shield.
Okay, yeah, I never watched The Shield, although it is on my it's on my list.
Move it up, move it up.
He's so good, and like I've started acting when I was about 16 or 17. And I've been in films and TV shows, and I have experience with stuff, but like it was never my intention when I was an actor. Like I knew I wanted to entertain people, but I didn't know how. And I thought that the only way I could entertain people was to be an actor, which I have come to find out is not true. But you can do this, or you can tell jokes, and you can do whatever. There's all other kinds, but it was I always wanted to be the person you remembered. I always wanted to be the person that you sat through the credits to see their name. Like I didn't need to be the main actress or the star or anything. I wanted to be the Walton Goggins. You know what I mean? Like what he does is so amazing. Like Danny McBride and Walton Goggins on Vice Principals to me is so good. Like I'm watching this show. It's only 2 seasons. I'm watching it for the 4th time in the last 3 and a half, 4 years. I'm watching it again just because it's just gold to me. I guess I just look at it different because I've studied acting and I know, I've kind of.
I actually think that's very inspirational because, you got these guys that are like doing themselves fully.
Yeah.
And like, who of us don't want to experience that too, right?
Yeah.
And I say, like, right now with streaming, even what we're doing right now with streaming, I think we're given an opportunity that we weren't given before, where we have a lot more time to be able to find our voice.
Right.
Like, I started stand-up in 2009. I had to do it 5 minutes at a time, right? Like one show at a time. That's a long time for me to figure out what I want to talk about, how I'm going to talk about things, where now I can hop on a Monday night, talk for 90 minutes, and develop myself that way, because this is all personal development in its own regard, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually something really cool. I'm actually I'm preaching it to the high moons to every comic I talk to start streaming, do something online, just do something where you're talking. You'll find jokes in the middle of shit, like it'll just happen. Just put yourself out there. There's so many comics afraid of technology because they think it hurts the purism of stand-up comedy.
Oh, no, it's the way that you get things out there. Like, if I hadn't started doing this channel by myself in August of 2005, the three of us would not be sitting here. And I did it by myself. Like, I filmed it, I edited it, I put it up there by myself. And I'll be honest with you, as an actor, I did it for so long. After a while, I just felt empty. And I felt like, why am I not happy when I'm doing this anymore? The last big project, I mean, I've done things, but the last big project that I did was in 2011. It was a series that was shot in Memphis that I was part of that was supposed to go to Netflix, but something happened, and whether you can actually watch it online, and maybe I'll pimp it out later. Who knows?
Yeah, pimp it out.
That's right. But I did that, and I was, still studying acting, going to my acting classes, and my acting teacher, Forrest Pruitt, who still teaches, I studied with Red West, and then he retired, and then I started going to Forrest Pruitt, and about around 2012, I was just kind of like, Forrest, I'm just not happy, and I don't know what it is. I feel, I'm tired of people calling me a lazy actor. It's not that I'm lazy. It's just there's no fire. I don't care. I've been doing this since I was 17. I'm 35. I don't know. I feel lost. I feel like I need to find my way.
Yeah.
And when I would tell jokes or tell stories, I would make people laugh. So there were a couple comedians that came to class, and they actually used the class as ways to get over stage fright. Well, I didn't have stage fright. So I went to some open mic nights with them, and they kind of taught me some things, and I went up and I did some sets, and I'll be honest, I did a good job, but I didn't find pleasure in that. Like, I kept thinking, like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? And then I kept going back to, I love reality shows. I love talking about this stuff. And a real good friend of mine said, well, Allison, why don't you get on YouTube? Why don't you film yourself talking about Big Brother? Because God knows you don't shut the fuck up about it. Why don't you just film yourself one day and just put it up there and see what happens? I did that. And that was like a light went off. I was like, I think this is what I want to do.
And what's so interesting about that is, like, I think in artistic pursuits, like in acting or comedy, a lot of people get caught up with the identity problem of it. Like, I am an actor. So what does that mean to be an actor? I am a comedian. I like to just say I do comedy, right? Like, I like performing. I do it because I enjoy it. Yes, I went like 2 years where I was just making money off stand-up. It's a fucking grind. It was exhausting. And I was like, no, I need a day job. No shame in it. Because I'm like, I got a kid. He's eating cat food. This isn't good.
Yeah. Look, dude, I had a kid at 19. I'm right there with you. Trust me.
So like, I think we should just enjoy things. Enjoy acting, but it doesn't have to be like, I am this, right?
Yeah.
And like with streaming and with all this stuff that we have the ability to do now, we have the ability to diversify our own personalities. Like, I can be a comedian and a Survivor super fan, right? Like, I can be these things that don't make sense. I talk about Survivor on stage. People are like, what the fuck is happening? Why is he pretending to blow Jeff Probst for 5 minutes? Please leave. But that's just how I express my truth, guys. Right? I don't do
Well,
that actually. Please.
well, if it's still on the internet, if you ever Google Shock Collar Studios, there was a little show that I was on called Head Shop, and it was 6 1-hour long episodes. I think they tried to take those 6 hours and make it into a movie a few years ago, but they went ahead and just posted it online. I
Yeah, it's
played.
on Vimeo.
Oh shit, you looked it up?
Yeah.
Okay, like
I got quick fingers.
my nephew plays my nephew when he was really little. He played my young son on the show.
Yo, the thumbnail is your name.
Is it?
Yeah, your name's on the thumbnail.
It's my stage name. I have
Summers
a stage.
Kelly.
Summers Kelly. Well, Allison Summers Kelly, but I cut the Allison off. That's my acting name. If you ever Summers Kelly, I just thought was so cool.
Yeah, no, that feels very vintage. I like it. This show actually looks kind of cool.
Let me just explain it to you real quick.
Okay, yeah, explain what this is, because I'm seeing puppets.
It was yes, it was completely improv. We had no script.
Oh, okay.
And the director, it was his first time ever doing anything, and he was a great guy, but he'll even admit he was a little inexperienced, but it was his first time doing anything, and he didn't understand that when you improv, when you're editing a show and you've got two people talking, you've got your close-ups, your wide shot and everything. Usually when you have a script, you can number it and keep it together, and it helps with editing purposes. But when you're doing improv, he'd give you a line and expect you to just keep up, and it was really kind of frustrating. And I had a scene where I got a phone call that my father died, and I had 5 minutes to get ready for that. Are you freaking kidding me? No, that's not how this works. So it was very stressful. So the acting is horrible. It's so bad. It is not my best.
I am going to binge this.
You get to see me in my underwear. I don't know, but anyway, it was fun. It was something I did. It was about 2011 when we filmed that. But anyway, that was the last big thing I did. But okay, enough about that.
I like our tangents, to be honest.
I know. See, I told you, Alex, we will start talking about one thing, and we're like, we don't have Tyler here to go. Anyways,
when we would do X on the Beach, we would literally be talking about like Angela for 90 minutes, and then we'd have to quickly recap the rest of the episode.
Oh, you're the other people.
Yeah.
That's great.
But I guess the moral of the story is I spend more time on HBO Go and Netflix than I do anything else. Like, I got on Amazon Prime 3 years ago, and the only reason why I did the free trial was because I wanted to watch The Man in the High Castle.
Okay.
And I ended up staying on it. I only watched the first season, and I really liked it. I just haven't gotten around to watching season 2 or 3. Probably because I'm too busy watching these really sick documentaries. Like, I told my parents to watch Abducted in Plain Sight. I read the Riot Act for that.
Yeah, you told me to watch that, and then I read about it, and I'm like, I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
You told me to, and I'm like, no.
This guy, listen, he kidnaps the same girl twice.
No, I looked it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I read the whole synopsis on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, it's not funny, but it's a funny thing is the guy, like, this guy could have been on, like, Big Brother or Survivor, because he, like, okay, let's do Big Brother or X on the Beach, Prime Wars. He worked these parents and manipulated them and like crazy, to the point where they let their daughter go with him a second time. I mean, it is insane.
Didn't he hook up with the parents too?
Yeah, he slept with the mom and convinced the dad to jerk him off in the car one Sunday afternoon.
Oh, geez.
It's insane. There is a video. If you go to my channel, there is a video. The first 20 minutes of this show I watched alone, and it got to the part where the guy was jerking off the neighbor, and I said, oh shit, oh hell no, I got to get Chris, my boyfriend, I've got to get him to watch this. So I made him watch it. I got my phone out and I had it hidden, and I had it like how did he not know I was filming him? What am I filming, my boob? And it's on my channel, but I secretly filmed him watching that part, and he just kind of stopped. He goes, what? But you got to watch My boyfriend watching that scene, it's in the videos. It's
I
like
feel like that should become a meme where just people secretly film people watching that scene just to see their reaction.
Dude, I like, I don't know what it is with me right now, but I am obsessed with Gypsy Rose Blanchard, that girl that was in the wheelchair. You know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't even know who
The
that is.
show, The
Did she kill
Act
someone?
on who? Okay, now, oh shit, hold on, Alex, have you heard of this girl in the
No.
wheelchair? Okay, so hold on, let me get some water.
I feel like we're about to hear some heinous
Okay,
shit.
so this is what you need to do. You need to go to HBO and you need to watch Mommy Dead and Dearest. Okay, you watch this documentary, then you go over to Hulu and you watch the show The Act. Okay, there's this girl named Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and her mom had Munchausen by proxy. Okay,
Okay.
and she convinced her daughter that she had cancer. She shaved her head all the time. She told her she had muscular dystrophy. She convinced doctors there were things wrong with her eyes, and she had multiple eye surgeries, ear surgeries. She took so much medication, her teeth rotted out of her mouth, and she had to get a bit put in. She had a feeding tube. This woman had just everything she could do. Her daughter was sick all the time. And then in like 2005, when Katrina hit, they were in Louisiana. They lost everything, doctors' records, everything. So Habitat for Humanity and all these people built them a house in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri. It would just so happen to be where I'm from. Okay. This girl and her mom a house, everything rent-free. This woman went to the doctor. I don't have any, everything was lost in Katrina. These doctors listened to her. They believed her.
Oh, geez.
Everything. It's insane. And this girl thought she was 5 years younger than what she really was. So when she was 23, she thought she was 18. I mean, she believed she was sick. And she knew she could walk. Like her mom let her walk at home. Like when no one was around. Like certain times a day, she'd let her walk.
So wait, why does she do this?
For attention and for money. Like she was a con artist. I'm telling you, you've got to watch this documentary.
Isn't this like, I don't know a whole
thing you've ever seen.
I don't really follow a lot of the behind the scenes drama, but isn't this kind of what Raven's mom did?
Yes, kind of.
Yeah.
Well,
because the first part of that sounded very Raven-y. And then it got a little crazy with the teeth missing and shit.
It probably started that way with Raven, and then it was okay. But I mean, just look it up. Google Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I'm telling you,
She has a very cool name for being a very weird person.
She came up. She got a laptop. She stole money from her mom that her mom stole from her, and bought a laptop. And met this guy on christianmingle.com and convinced him to kill her mom. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is like a real thing. Like this, she was tortured by her mom her entire life. Like she had no childhood, no life. It's sad.
So wait, is she in jail now?
She
didn't murder him.
No, the guy did, but she is serving 10 years and the guy is in prison without parole.
Wait, how do you sign up for Christian Mingle and end up killing someone's mom?
Oh my God, that's why you've got to watch the documentary. You've got to watch the documentary.
See, this is why I don't like people talking to me about the documentaries, because there's no bone in my body that wants to watch this, and now I feel like I have to. It's like my new Flash. I don't like that.
On HBO, it's called Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, and then you got to go to Hulu and watch the show The Act. It's so good. Chris, like I've already seen I've watched the documentary 3 times because it's so good.
I like how you're stream hopping to watch the same horrible story.
Oh, I'm so sorry for this girl, but Chris, my boyfriend was watching some of the documentary with me Friday night because I wanted to watch the end of it, and he's like, "Why do we have to watch the end of this?" Look, there's
not going to be a hand job, is there?
I'm like, no, it's not going to be a hand job. I'm like, just shut up and watch it. It's so good. And he gets into it, and he's just like. What the fuck what are you watching, Allison? He goes, I'm worried about you. This is a man who I used to watch Investigative Discovery Channel before it was a thing. Back in the early days when all it showed was Old Dateline and Snapped. That was the only 2 shows that Investigative Discovery used to show. And I'm a writer. I journal a lot. I would be sitting there on a Sunday night watching the latest episode of Snapped, journaling, watching a show, and I know it looked bad. But Chris would be like, "What the hell are you doing, Allison? Taking notes?" I go, "Yeah, I don't want to get caught."
That's funny. Now, I do have a question because, like, you're talking about how, like, you're watching it on Netflix and then you're going over to Hulu and all this kind of stuff. Now, a lot of people think streaming is going to be wiping out cable television, but
it already started.
But these cable companies have so much money, right? Like, they're conglomerates, they're huge, right? So it's just going to take them enough time to learn how to counteract this, right? They're going to create bundles, their own streaming services. We're already seeing that with individual channels.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like Global, you can stream like Survivor the week of. You know, they're starting to tap into these things. Like even like a Canadian channel like Global, that's channel 3 in Canada, right? Like and Global is killing it on social media. They're adapting to the streaming game, right? Like you're starting to see these cable companies kind of fighting back. And where I get confused is like, am I going to spend all this money on all these different services? And people are saying, well, it's cheaper. It's $8.99 a month. But if I'm spending $8.99 on Netflix, right, and then I'm spending $11.99 on Crave and all these kind of things, how's that different than cable?
Yeah,
and then it's going to end up a cycle. You know what I mean? Like everyone is going to have their own streaming service, which is like already the route it's going. Like Disney, you know, like Marvel took their shows off Netflix and Disney's launching their own streaming service, and they're going to have all their shows, including the Marvel stuff, everything that's their property, new Star Wars shows, like all that stuff.
Oh, they're going to control the game, right? Like Disney has our childhoods.
So yeah, I mean, but so it'll get to a point where, I mean, it'll loop back around and it'll make less sense to buy individual streaming services. Somebody will come along and offer like the big, you know, like Hulu, Netflix, Disney, and HBO for like a fixed price. You know what I mean? And it'll be like cable all over again, but it'll be cable for streaming. It'll be like streaming packages.
Bundling streaming services.
Yeah.
Right.
That seems like the next, like it just cycles back around like that.
Oh my gosh.
Like DirecTV. I don't know, Alex, are you familiar with DirecTV?
Kind of, but I've never really had it.
Okay. I don't know if they have DirecTV in Canada or not, but it's just like a cable, but it's a satellite.
Yeah.
They now have Direct Now, and it's just like DirecTV, you know, with the satellite, except you're not paying for the cable, you're paying month to month for the same thing, except you don't have a DVR, but you can rewind a channel 48 hours, you know, but you can pay for movie channels. But if you add it up, it's almost costs the same thing. And like when I get, when my DirecTV is up for renewal in October, I'm probably going to just cut the cord with it and just do Direct Now, because it's just $60 a month as opposed to what I'm paying now. But I mean, even there, even their own satellite, even their own people, they're already making apps for themselves.
Yeah, no, I have Spectrum with like Time Warner Cable, and I have a Spectrum app on my phone. I can watch live TV or anything on demand, like remotely. Like
I do that too.
I kind of feel like what's benefiting all these companies is limitations, because you'll have a certain amount of limitations that makes you like, you know, even if Netflix hasn't put anything that I want in the last 3 months, because I'm still curious of what's going to come out the next month, I keep the package. And I keep spending all this money, right? Yeah. And then, like, that's how the cable companies really became really good at what they were doing, is they had the basic cable package, and then you spent extra for the sports channels or the news channels. Like, they would have different bundles, right? Or Discovery and A&E and that kind of thing. So it's like playing with this idea of, like, they could give it all to us if they wanted to. But they don't, right? They have to put limitations on. It's the same with like data. Like data is unlimited, but we get charged for data caps, right? Like in Canada, it's very hard to get more than 8 gigabytes on a plan. It's better in America. America's got way better cell plans.
I have unlimited data. So when I watch HBO on my, you know, phone without, you know, I can do it and I'm not going to get dinged for it.
And a big reason for that is because America is a smaller country with way more people, and the cell towers are just way more congested, where Canada, we have way more land than we do people, so the cell towers are like a lot further apart. So we can't actually play the same game that America plays.
Wow. Why don't you come down here and live?
No, I've seen your president. I'm gonna stick over here with our sexy prime minister. I'm good.
Sorry. Well, on that note, do y'all want to add anything? I've been watching the new on CBS All Access. Have y'all seen
I want to
at
see
all?
that.
I haven't yet. No.
That's Jordan Peele, right?
It's okay. I love Jordan Peele. I love King Peele.
I will. I'll tell you, like I'm assuming we're ending here, but I'll say the show that I'm obsessed with right now that I'm streaming the most. It's on Netflix. It's called Life Below Zero. It's just about badasses in Alaska, and I'm obsessed with these isolation Alaska shows now. Yeah, because that's like when we're in this time where we're all connected all the time, socially and whatnot. I really see the appeal of like, yeah, what if we just lived in Alaska and fought wolves, and that's how I went about my day. Right? Like there's this mass appeal to me. I totally get it, and I just like dive in. That's my new big thing. That's my kink.
In like a similar kind of vein, there was a show I really liked on AMC that I guess it might have been almost a year now since I watched it, but it might not be that long now that I think about it. But it was The Terror, and it was like set in Nunavut.
I remember.
In like 18, it's like a true story about a ship that got stuck in the ice during like the season they should not have been up there. They're trying to like navigate the Northwestern Passage or whatever. Some English ship. And then like they introduced the element of some like polar bear demon thing that's like hunting them, but it's like in the middle of just nowhere, icy landscapes, like really cool visuals. And I don't know if you can stream it anywhere, but it was AMC.
No, I've never.
It was just one season. It's really cool. It's kind of like a horror thriller, like, and it's also like a survivalist thing because like it gets to a point like we're running out of food, and then also like this is a true story about that ship, but like the tin food was they had like I guess the Royal Army had some contract with the Royal Navy had some contract with the guy who like skimped on the packaging, and so the tin was like giving everyone botulism and like killing them.
Wow.
So like their own food was killing them, but
see, I would totally watch that show.
It was amazing. Yeah, it's wild. It just gets worse and worse. Like conditions just continue to deteriorate. Like
it's nice to know there's shows out there that I haven't heard of yet.
Yeah.
You know, like I was telling a friend about like because I got into this whole Alaska show thing, and I love reality TV. Have you ever seen Sled Necks?
No.
About rednecks in Alaska?
No.
Yeah.
It's the fucking best.
It's a good title considering folks what it is.
So. Oh yeah, and there's just like an episode where they're all taking shots of like elk blood. and building homemade rafts. It's the best. It's the best of both worlds. You get the isolation of the Alaska shows and the idiocy of reality TV.
What's it called? Sled Necks?
Sled Necks. It is the perfect show. It is perfect.
You know, these shows sound normal compared to what I'm watching, you know, because I'm watching these weird murder shows, you know, Evil Genius, Abducted in Plain Sight, the Ted Bundy tapes.
Allison, have you watched The Founder yet?
No,
what is that? No, not The Founder. I'm sorry, The Inventor.
Yeah, The Founder. Wasn't that about McDonald's?
The McDonald's movie. Yeah,
that was a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
About the chick that claimed that she could do blood tests.
Yeah.
What was her name? Elizabeth somebody.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah, she talked like a man.
Yeah, no, she like every time she did.
She
did public speaking. She purposely dropped her voice multiple octaves because she felt like she needed to be taken seriously in Silicon Valley.
Like, Cliff,
she's a fascinating character study, man. This documentary is amazing.
You need to
what's it called? The Inventor?
The Inventor.
The Inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley. It's on HBO.
Is there murder in that, or is it just like normal?
No, there's just a massive, like, multi-million years long fraud.
Okay, cool. I'll watch that.
I don't
want to watch any of Allison's weird murder jerk-off shows. I don't want to watch that.
Like she's in court right now fighting it, and she still adamantly believes she did nothing wrong. So that's the craziest part, is that she's convinced herself what she was doing was righteous. And it's going to be a movie next year with
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence playing her. Oh so it's kind of cool to see the documentary and see the real person, knowing that.
But see, that's kind of bugging me too. That documentaries are coming out like that. Like there's that sex cult trial right now with Allison Mack.
Yeah,
And
right.
HBO just ordered the documentary for it. The case isn't even over yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
They haven't gone to trial yet.
Jumping the gun with that.
And there's already an order for the doc series,
I'm
right?
all
It reminded me of when they made the movie The Blind Side, and
Yeah.
like Michael Orr, like he had like just gotten drafted to the NFL. It's like he went on and won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Like, shouldn't that make the movie? He won a Super Bowl, but like, no, the movie's already out. We can't update his life at 24. That's the end. Like, what?
The movie's
y'all know
much
that
more about
movie's really
Sandra
about
than
Sandra
him.
Bullock.
so.
Yeah, I was about to say
Of
that's
course.
well, like
But it's just a biographical film where we like end this guy's life in his like early 20s. Like, wait a minute, can we find out what happened now? Or
I watched The Inventor, and then I watched the case against Agna.
did you watch that?
Saeed.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? Well, I listened to the
Like making a
podcast.
murderer type of like wrongly convicted guy.
Yeah,
type
I
thing.
listened to the podcast Serial about 4 years ago.
That's right. It was the same case as Serial. Right?
And then they made the documentary on HBO, and I watched that, and that was really good. But yeah, I just watched that and The Inventor. And speaking of sick shit, I'm currently on Netflix watching The Keepers, which is about a bunch of girls that went to a Catholic school and got raped by priests.
Jesus,
And
Allison.
then a nun got killed. And
This
Don't
is
watch
Easter.
That. We all watch Game of Thrones.
This is Easter weekend. How
At least
dare
Game of
you?
Thrones is taking place in a fictional world with zombies and dragons and stuff. How do you justify the church rape?
if this happened, one of the nuns that was like looking out for them and stuff, she got murdered, and I think it was by these priests. And if these girls hadn't been assaulted by these guys when they were young, they wouldn't be able to help solve the case.
Is it a true story or?
Yes, I got one episode left. What do you think I'm doing when I get out of here?
Wait, did we do a spoiler warning on this episode? We just spoiled like 27 movies.
Speaking of movies, are y'all going to see the Avengers Endgame this weekend?
No. I am adamantly against these superhero movies.
Okay.
Lindsay forced me to watch Aquaman yesterday.
You.
You could have done
They're
better.
making out underwater with a fireworks show all around them. I can't do this shit. If it's not in Alaska, I don't give a fuck. That's where I am at now.
The best one. Aquaman is not the best one, but listen to this. I got online at the Crack It On this morning to buy a ticket. I waited too long. I couldn't get tickets.
I haven't gotten one yet. I'm worried about it.
I can't. I'm not going to be able to see it till 3:45 Sunday after damn noon. I'm going to be off social media from Thursday at noon till Sunday because
I should have thought about this because last time I went like opening night and I didn't buy a ticket in advance.
Yeah,
and I was able to see it, but I was like second row on the end. So it was not a.
There's only one movie I'm going to see opening night, and that's Detective Pikachu. Holy shit!
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Oh, my son is too.
It'll be fun. I was in fourth grade when Pokemon dropped. Everyone was going nuts. The whole elementary, like everyone was playing it. I don't remember something. I guess Pogs, but there was few things that everyone rallied around the way they did Pokemon. Like,
is that Dragon Ball Z?
No. Is what Dragon Ball Z?
Pikachu?
No, that's Pokemon.
That's Pokemon. Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Pikachu's
they're both Japanese and
Super
orange,
Saiyan.
but that's where the similarities end for the most part.
Oh, okay. My brain is fried. On that note, once again, blonde moment. Well, that's what we're doing, streaming and whatnot. But yes, you need to watch these shows, Cliff.
Oh God, I'm not going to.
You're going to watch.
The worst case scenario could be superhero.
I'll watch Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I'll watch Cobra Kai. I'll be down for that.
You guys need to watch Cobra Kai, and then we need to come back and do a show.
Yeah, then we'll podcast about that. That sounds fun.
I love Cobra Kai because I know the history of the Karate Kid and everything. I know everything there is to know about all the Karate Kid movies.
My one friend has been relentless about like, dude, you really got to watch Cobra Kai. So
You have to watch it.
Yeah.
Season 1 and season 2 is about to come out, and
Sweet.
Anyway, so that's about an hour and a half of us just having ADD combos about streaming everywhere. Cliff, how can people find you on social media?
I am at Clifford Myers. Clifford like the big red dog. Myers like the serial killer. And I have a YouTube channel that I neglect on a weekly basis, so you can hit that up too. Okay. And if you're in Canada, just come to one of my shows. Those are fun.
And Alex, how can people find you?
I'm like at Alex Kidwell on most everything, and it's easy enough to find. I feel like, but I use Twitter the most.
Okay, cool. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Summers SOMMERS 1977. I'm on Instagram, the.memphis.darling. Please subscribe to this channel so you will get notifications when we go live and the shows we're going to do, and like my little Facebook page and all that. And my cat Finley has an Instagram of his own. Dude,
I regret following that account, but I won't unfollow.
95. He's got 95 followers now. I'm so excited for him. But it's Finley's Insty, FINLEYS_INSTI, Finley's Insty. He's a mess. He's so cute and mean and evil. Okay. But anyway, that is it for us tonight. Thank you so much, Alex and Clifford. I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll all get together again and do another show. This was a lot of fun.
Cool.
And if you
put on our headbands, do a karate.
Yeah, I'm down for Cobra Kai. We'll do that.
We're going to cover it. I've been dying to cover that for a year, and nobody would do it with me.
All right. Well, there you go.
We got to do it.
You got your guys.
You guys got to get on that like ASAPage.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay.
ASAPage.
Look how close it is. Look at the 2-start list. There's Cobra Kai right there at the top.
Oh. Do it because you guys got season 1 and 2 to watch. Because season 2 starts Wednesday.
Well,
get on it. Y'all don't sit there and act like you have lives. I know better. You're like me.
This is so much content.
Yeah,
it's just drowning in a sea of content. Like, it's a terrible thing to complain about. Like, it's cool, but it is overwhelming sometimes. You're just like, God. Like, sometimes I don't end up watching anything because I'm just like, I have so many things I want to watch. I just end up like, I'll come back.
Yeah. Sometimes you remember to live. Ugh. Yeah. What's the point of that?
I went outside Saturday for like 10 minutes. So
that's the whole season. You're like, wait, I haven't eaten today, and I'm like feeling really weak. Like that is not right.
Anyway, I think that's all there is for now. We'll be back. Well, I'll be back Wednesday for Survivor Edge of Extinction. Can't wait at 9/8 Central with Tyler, who hopefully won't be high. That's why he said he couldn't join us tonight, was because he was too high. Well, you know what, Tyler? I like you better when you're high, so probably he just says to pick on him. Oh, please. Yeah, I'm harmless.
Just power through like a professional, buddy. What are you doing?
Be a man. What's the problem? Okay. Anyway, that's it for us. Anyway, I'll see you Wednesday at 9/8 Central for Survivor. Thank you so much, and good night. I can't talk.